All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Leveled Up Podcast with me, Mike Adler. I hope everybody is doing well. It's Monday. That means it's a fresh start to a new week. I'm getting over, hopefully getting over some sort of sinus cold. It's really annoying. But let's kick the week off with some positive energy. And yeah, thank you for tuning in as always. As you can see, once again, we're doing another vehicle episode. I have a feeling it's going to be more of these. It's just a couple things. We had someone move into the downstairs unit where I have my little studio set up. But on top of that, my computer is all fucked up. When I try to boot it, it says something about, it's some error message, and I looked it up and it's probably something to do with my hard drive. So I have a feeling the hard drive got fried or something. And that's the computer that I edited on. So as you can see, the past few weeks, it's been different, sort of. The podcasts have looked a little different. That's because I'm shooting it on a phone instead of a GoPro, and also editing on the phone instead of a computer. But it is what it is. Perfect example of life throwing shit at you and having to, keep going with what you got. If any of you have your own business, you know that very well. You gotta be resourceful. Use what you have. And that's what we're doing here, to keep this thing going. Because I feel like I have a lot of important things to say in regards to leveling up your life. So that's what this podcast is all about, is me getting those messages out to hopefully motivate, inspire, get a fire under your ass to actually start taking action on those things that you need to do. So if you could click share, leave a comment on the video. It helps the algorithm and ultimately will help get the message out to more people. So this week I want to talk about something that a very wise man says. And when I say wise man, he probably doesn't come to mind. He's someone who served 10 years in prison and on paper is quote unquote a bad guy because of his, criminal record. But this dude, the things that he says are super forward thinking, and you can tell he's spent a lot of time thinking and learning and implementing. So today I want to break down a quote from the dude Wes Watson. If you don't know him, I highly, highly recommend you check him out. He is a little rough around the edges, so just be cautious of that. But I urge you to listen to his message and not so much the way that he shares it. You know, some people get caught up on the way someone talks, that they miss the message that they're spreading, and it can be something beautiful that you wouldn't expect coming from that type of person. But Wes Watson talks about your purpose, and what's so cool is he said he had this written on his rack in prison. I believe he came up with it himself after reading some personal development type books. But he says that our purpose is to create the man or woman, the person that we admire, and give that person to the world. So I fucking love that, and I just wanted to share that on here and kind of go into it, so hopefully you can get the same sort of value out of it that I have. Now, first of all, it's the purpose. People get so hung up on purpose. A lot of people say find your purpose, and then, you know, you'll never work a day in your life, or just that everything will fall into place once you find your purpose. But a lot of people struggle to find that purpose, and we often look outwardly towards things. Like, is my purpose to help dogs, to, you know, help people find their forever home, teach people how to surf, like, whatever. We look for, like, outwardly things, earthly possessions, or fucking just things or experiences. We often forget to look within, and that's what I love about Wes's quote here, is that it's all, your purpose is an internal game. At least the first half of it, and that is, you know, creating the individual that you admire. So most people would not think of that as a purpose, but then going and sharing that person with the world, meaning showing other people how to do what you've done, then you get purpose, because you're bringing other people into it. Because let's face it, purpose often, or it needs to include something bigger than us. It's hard to, you know, stay purpose driven on something that is just about us. We need it to be bigger than us. And so that's where that second part comes into play. But create the individual that you admire. What does that mean to you? Obviously that's what makes it unique, is because this idea, this quote here, can be used by 1,000 people, but it's going to be different for each person, because each person will admire different qualities. There is going to be a lot of overlap. Obviously, a lot of things are admired by a lot of people, so certain traits are going to be unique between everyone, but it also gives that room for you to, you know, find what is important to you. And that may be different from someone else, but the first step is creating that person that you admire. And in order to do that, first we have to identify the things that we admire, and create an avatar of the person you admire most. What does that person possess? What does that person do? What do they look like? And once we determine those things, then we have to become that person. And that's where the work comes in. That's where most people will fail, because they won't do the work. But once you identify those traits that you admire, you need to start becoming that person. And there's no set timeline for how long this can take. But it is a matter of identifying the trait, and then identifying what it takes to get that trait or possess that trait, and then begin to implement it in your own life. So if something you admire is someone who is in peak physical shape, then we know that requires consistent effort in the gym, consistency with diet and macros. And so we can then begin to implement by creating habits around those things. Habits that include going to the gym every day. Habits that include counting your macros and making sure you're eating correctly, consistently, day in, day out. And as I mentioned, there's no set timeline on it. This is something that may take a long time to achieve, depending on how far along you already are. But there's that time aspect. And that's where the magic happens, is implementing the habits required to get the result over time. Because in that time is where you do the most learning, where you reflect, where you begin to transform into that person. So that's where the real magic happens, and that's where the experience is required, because that's where you can really help other people, because you've lived it. So that goes to the second part of the quote: give that person to the world. And that means help other people achieve what you've achieved, become what you've become, change their lives the way you changed yours. And now you're equipped to do this because you've put in that time and you've built those habits and you've done it yourself. Most importantly, you've done it. So once you've done it, you are qualified to teach on that. And you can deliver your message to the world about how these things changed your life, saved your life, did what they did. And people will listen because you show the results, you show that you've done it. But also because chances are, if it's a trait that you admire, chances are they admire that trait as well. So people are more likely to listen to someone who they admire. So that's why this whole idea of that this quote is like perfect, because it's all there in the one thing. And it's just a matter of identifying, implementing, and then sharing. But that's why people are able to make a living off of alternative education like coaching or courses, because chances are you have done something in your life that someone else is struggling with. Whether that's quitting drinking, getting in shape, learning to play piano, there's some wild things out there that people get paid for, but it's because they identified something that they admire about a person, whether it's creating art and you become an artist, and then sharing how to create that art with others. But this just can apply to so many things. And that's what's beautiful about the world we live in today, is that you can learn fucking anything because there's someone out there who has accomplished what it is you want to do. So I just wanted to share this quote with you, Wes's quote on purpose, because if you're someone who's struggling to discover your purpose, that thing that will keep you going when shit gets tough, I think this can really help you, because it's helping me for sure. So hopefully you identify what it is that you admire in a person, and you start to become that person. Build those character traits through your daily habits, and then show other people how to do the same. That's really how lives are changed. That's how you can make an impact and become the person that you should be. Because why wouldn't you want to be the person that you admire? You should look in the mirror and be proud of yourself. And that happens through this concept of creating the person you admire and sharing them with the world. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Hopefully you made it this far, and by breaking down that quote, you have a good understanding of how to discover your purpose. And maybe you thought you knew your purpose, but after hearing this, you realize there's something more you can do. So, as always, thank you for tuning in. And yeah, share this out. Share this with people that need to hear it. And go check out Wes Watson. I'm not going to say his username because I don't want to fuck it up, but he has like a new Instagram, and it's like I'm Wes Watson, or I'm the real Wes Watson. But there's a lot of fake accounts too, so but he's fucking awesome. So check him out, and yeah, thank you for listening. Hope you have a strong start to the week, and until next time, work on becoming that person that you admire, and give that person to the world. See you next week. Peace.